Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the Smart Restart Virtual Parent Conference 2020. This is week 2, day 2 of the conference. If you were with us last week for week 1 or yesterday, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, welcome, and we are delighted that you have joined us this evening. I am Dr. Sarah Johnson with the Dallas ISD Family and Community Engagement Office, and I'm honored to be your mistress of ceremony today. Now I'd like to briefly review a few helpful items and tips that will come in handy for you this evening during the sessions. First, it's a good idea to have a pen and paper handy, just in case you would like to jot down important information shared during the session. You might also consider having your cell phone nearby, just in case you want to snap a quick picture of information shared or to scan any QR codes that are shared. Now, just in case you are new to using QR codes, it's fairly simple to do using your cell phone. First, you would open your camera. Then you would point it directly at the QR code. Now, some phones at this point will automatically trigger the code's action. Other phones, you may have to tap the screen. And then there's a few that you may need to press and hold the home button. Now, speaking of QR codes, I want to be certain that everyone has the Smart Restart QR code. If you cannot scan the QR code, you can access the website by visiting dallasisd.org/smart-restart-parents. That's Smart Restart Parents with an S. This website right here. Okay. With access to this website, you are able to watch past videos from week 1 and also this week of the conference, as well as access any resources or even the presentation slides for each conference session that we presented. So I encourage everyone to write down this website or take a moment and scan the QR code. Next, I'd like to briefly review some tips on virtual conference etiquette. The chat feature is off, so if you have questions during a session, simply click the Q&A feature. It looks like this. The Q&As in Zoom are live, so if you post a question, we have people available to answer. They will make every effort to answer all questions posted. Also, at the end of each session, I will ask the presenter the top questions that were asked throughout the presentation and allow him or her to answer those questions for the entire group to hear. Last, just another reminder that all of our sessions will be recorded and available on our VPC webpage, along with other resources from the sessions. Here it is again, just in case you did not copy or scan the QR code. Okay, let's take a glance at our AllStar lineup for today's Smart Restart sessions. Starting us off at 3 p.m., we'll be Cultivating Social Emotional Learning, followed by Trauma-Informed Care. And at 4 p.m., Who Do I Call? Understanding the Problem-Solving Process. At 4:30 p.m., we will have Amplify Your Voice with Flipgrid. Next up at 5 p.m., Surviving and Thriving in 2020, 5 ways to help your child cope with challenges this year. And we will end week 2, day 2, with specialized support for students. Let's get this virtual show started. First up is Cultivating Social Emotional Wellness. Presenting this session today is Sandra Martinez and Jane Santa Cruz. Sandra Martinez has been in education for 9 years and 4.5 years in Dallas ISD. Sandra is currently a coordinator in the Social Emotional Learning Department of Dallas ISD. Presenting with her is Jane Santa Cruz, who has been in education for 8 years and in Dallas ISD for almost 3 years. She is currently serving as a project manager also in the Social Emotional Learning Department of Dallas ISD. At this time, if you ladies are ready to begin, I will turn it over to you.
Welcome participants, happy Wednesday, good afternoon. We're so glad that you decided to spend the next half hour with us. I would love to find out where you're joining us from before we start. So I invite you to type in the Q&A box at the bottom your child's campus's name. Let's see who we have. Daily Montessori, hi, how are you doing? Withers. Rogers, oh, Polk, hi, welcome. Arturo Salazar, I'm so glad you're able to join us. Mockingbird, Mata, wow, we have a lot of representation here. Lakewood, Anne Frank Elementary, hi, how are you? Let's see. Preston Hollow, LV Stockard, Rosemont, hi, Rosemont. Hexter, Griner, hi, everybody, how are you? I'm so glad that you're able to join us today. Thank you so much. So today's session, thank you. So today's session is Cultivating Social Emotional Wellness, specifically gratitude in moments of uncertainty. I am Sandra Martinez, as Dr. Johnson mentioned, and I am the Family Engagement Coordinator. And I am being joined by with Jane Santa Cruz. She's the SEL Project Manager. We're both with the Social Emotional Learning Department. Jane will be joining us during the Q&A section of our session. So let's get started. So let's talk about what our session is going to look like today. We're going to be starting off with a warm welcome, and then we're going to be talking about our social emotional learning and our amazing brain, followed by growing our gratitude. We'll have a section where we will answer any questions that you may have, and then we'll have an optimistic closing. So for a warm welcome, we would love for you to take a moment to just check in with your feelings. So in this space right now, at this moment, how are you feeling? So if you need to close your eyes, close your eyes. I do that sometimes too, to really get in touch with my feelings. So are you feeling nervous or tired, excited, sad? Are you anxious? Are you happy? Is it a combination of those feelings? Because that's totally normal. What feelings are coming up to the surface right now? So take a moment to think about that. What feelings are coming up? So I would like to share that I'm feeling excited and really grateful for being here today. And if you're open to sharing, I would invite you to, in the Q&A box, just share maybe 2 emotions, maybe 2 words on how you're feeling. You can type that in right now in the Q&A box. Tired and anxious, yeah. I understand that. Excited, you see, anxious and uncertain. A little bit nervous, but okay. Excited, happy, overwhelmed. Yeah, I can understand that. Disrupted, okay. Grateful for this session. I'm grateful you're here. Nervous and worried, tired. Somewhat anxious, but trying to be optimistic. That's great. Tired. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing that with us and being vulnerable enough to share with us your emotions and your feelings right at this moment. I appreciate that. I'm so grateful for you. So in talking about social and emotional learning, let's talk about what is social and emotional learning. Well, it's how we show up every day, right? It's how we relate to others and the choices that we make on a daily basis. Specifically, though, social emotional learning, or SEL, you'll hear social emotional learning and SEL interchangeably, is comprised of 5 competencies. The first competency is self-awareness, or recognizing our emotions. Self-management, which is regulating your emotions. Social awareness, which is empathizing with others. And the last competency is responsible decision-making, or making good choices. And as a department and district, we advocate these at school. And I'm sure that you would agree that these skills are beneficial across all areas of life. Because people with strong social emotional skills are better equipped to manage daily challenges, build positive relationships, and make informed decisions. It's really important to also note that these are not skills that we're born with. In fact, we have to really practice and we have to have a model for these skills, and that's where you come in. Skills need to be learned. These skills definitely need to be learned. And to put these into context, let's talk about the amazing brain. So this is our amazing brain. The three main areas that we are going to talk to you about today are the amygdala, and the amygdala is the alarm center. So this is where we feel this is where our fear comes from. The prefrontal cortex, and this is a conductor. This puts brakes on impulses, and this is where you would make great decisions or good decisions. And then we have the hippocampus, and that's the memory bank, or this is where we're creating and maintaining memories. Every day we react to situations and circumstances either through an upstairs or a downstairs brain. The upstairs brain, which is your prefrontal cortex, is in charge in this instance. It's making good decisions. Its decisions are based on logic. The downstairs brain, though, down here, it's the amygdala, where the amygdala is in charge, and the decisions are based on emotions and not logic. So to put this into context, and let's talk about a scenario. So let's think about the following. You're on your way home after a really stressful day at work. You're stuck on I-35 for over an hour. It's bumper to bumper traffic. Your son has baseball practice in about an hour, and you still have to pick up groceries for dinner. You've been on the road for a while, and it's been a really long while. And when you arrive at home, your kids are shouting at each other, and no one has taken the dog out. And now you have less than 30 minutes before practice, and the kids haven't even started their homework. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, so let's take a poll. And let me ask you this question. In this scenario, what part of the brain do you think is working here? What part of the brain do you think is engaged? Dr. Johnson, there you go. In this scenario, what part of this parent's brain is engaged and most likely going to be responding? Is it the upstairs brain, the prefrontal cortex, that conductor, the one that's making good decisions? Is it the downstairs brain, the amygdala or the alarm? Is it the library? It's what we call the library, right? So the hippocampus or the memory bank. What area do you think is going to be engaged here? Yeah, absolutely. The downstairs brain. The downstairs brain is saying, oh my gosh, all this stuff is happening. I have so many things to do. There's what's going on with the shouting and the dog and the groceries and the dinner and the traffic and what's going on. Yeah, it's the alarm. Your brain is just firing on all cylinders, right? Are you really clearly thinking at that moment? Are you going to be making a great decision when you say anything at that moment? No, definitely not. But you know what? You need to show yourself some grace here, because the amygdala actually took over your brain and logic has totally gone out the window. The amygdala is the fundamental way that is your stress response. So let's say you're in a forest, right? It's not very many in Dallas, but let's say you're in a forest and you come across a bear. Well, your amygdala is going to tell you, I need to get away from this bear. So it takes over, it initiates a fight or flight response. And the amygdala is doing its job, right? It's keeping you safe. It's saying, I need to get out of here. I can't really think very logically what to do. I just need to get out. I need to go. And that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to keep you safe. Now, I'm not sure what part of Dallas you're living in, but I'm guessing you're not going to be coming across many bears in your life. But you are coming across some bear-like or bear-type stressors every day. So let's go back to the scenario, but make a slight adjustment. So your son gets home from school and it's been a long day and he's nervous about baseball practice because it's a new team and he doesn't really know any of his teammates. He knows he has to start his homework before you get home. But then he realizes his journal with notes aren't in his backpack. So he's already doing poorly in the class. And it's his turn to take the dog out for a walk, but he spends his time frantically looking for his journal. Meanwhile, his sister is teasing him because he's irresponsible, and so they start shouting at each other. And then that's when you walk in. Well, part of the brain is in control for him right at that moment. It's the same as yours. Yeah, it's the downstairs brain controlled by amygdala or the emotions. Stress, you see, it's not exclusive to adults. Children experience stress too. Our body's primal response to stress is coming from the amygdala. Adrenaline and cortisol triggers the body to fight or flight, from the bear. It's the natural reaction to keep us safe. However, chronic stress or feeling stress for a long period of time and very often can create an overproduction of these hormones, and that can lead to learning and behavior challenges, as well as medical issues if not addressed or regulated. Stressors include things like traumas, world events like our COVID-19 pandemic going on, the death of a loved one, illness, uncertainty of the future, an unstable home environment, a school environment, or just an unstable community. So how can we change this narrative? Well, we know that by calming the amygdala down, we can go from a downstairs brain to an upstairs brain response. So your brain needs a moment to reset, and you can do that with calming strategies like going for a walk or deep breathing. But the one strategy that we want to talk to you about today is gratitude. Practicing gratitude, noticing and being thankful for what is valuable and meaningful to you provides you the opportunity just for a moment to just reset that amygdala, that response, that fear response. Because research shows that people who practice gratitude are more generous and helpful, are more willing to help others, are more empathetic, and they experience decreased blood pressure, stress, and depressive symptoms. And isn't that an amazing gift that we can give not only to ourselves, but to our children? So when we talk about gratitude, we often think about big occasions like a promotion at work. But how about celebrating and showing gratitude for simple things like socks that match? That's always great. Or the person who matched those socks for you, right? I mean, practicing gratitude daily helps us calm our emotions by focusing our mind on positive thoughts and flooding our bodies with oxytocin, a bonding hormone, and re-engaging that prefrontal cortex. You can practice this technique with your child by setting aside a short time each day to focus on gratitude, so that when stressful moments occur, and they will occur, you'll be better equipped. You and your child will be better equipped to reset or regulate your emotions. So a quick and easy way to practice this skill is to have a conversation, maybe at breakfast or in the car or even before bedtime. Reflect on the day and ask specific questions. Instead of, what are you grateful today? What are you grateful for today? Maybe ask something like, who made you laugh today? And why? Or what did they do? How about, what is the best compliment you received or you gave today? How about, who makes you love? Who makes you feel loved? And how do they make you feel loved? So when you find yourself or your child finds themselves reacting from that downstairs brain area, take a moment and give your amygdala time to turn the reins over to the prefrontal cortex. Now let's practice. I would like you to reflect on the following question. Who brightened your day? It could either be today, sometime this week, something that maybe somebody did or that made your life easier, lighter, or happier. So think about that for a moment. Put that in your brain. Take a moment to reflect. What did they do? Who was it? What did they do? And then I want you to write their name down and then notebook. And include the specific reason of why that person made your life easier, lighter, or happier. So during dinner tonight or before bed, ask your child the same question. This not only cultivates your own attitude towards gratitude, but it also grows your family in the practice. And I would encourage you to maybe even go a step further, maybe reach out to that person and express your gratitude to further extend connections with others. Because it's through these practices and connections that we can continue to help support each other through COVID-19 and beyond. So we've come to the optimistic closing section of our presentation. In class, teachers ask students to reflect on lessons they're learning and their social impact in class. So in that spirit, I would invite you to briefly reflect on your experience today. So what's your next step? What may be one thing you may want to do after this session? If you would like to type in the Q&A, maybe something that you're going to ask or something that you're going to do after the session based on this technique of gratitude. So we hope that we're able to provide you with tools and information to support you and your family's social and emotional journey. Thank you so much for your time. Be well and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our first session of the evening. I'd like to thank Sandra for providing us with that enlightening information.